So Amazon just added a bunch of new features to its Amazon app. There's a lot of new stuff you can do with it, thank goodness, because, well, before it had a lot of stuff going on, but it wasn't so easy to get to some of the stuff for some reason. So now we're going to get into what exactly you can do with the new-ish Amazon app. And eBay has come out with a new app too that's updated the previous one. So if you had the eBay app before, which you were using to buy and sell things, then it's got a few changes going on now as of just a few months ago. So if you had it, say, last year and you didn't really use it, now it has some new details, new features built in that are a little bit different from what we've had before, actually. So it's pretty cool. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the home of the Super Bowl. This Sunday, by the way. So go to hotnewstalkradio.com or get the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone, and you can listen to the Super Bowl live streaming, hotnewstalkradio.com and the TuneIn radio app for your phone. Very high-tech stuff, by the way. Very high-tech. The way we stream, the way we do everything here in the studio is extremely high-tech. It's probably, I would even say, more technologically involved than even some other studios do, just because there's so much, not even just automation, but there's so many computer functions involved in it. It's just crazy. Because we don't have, 50 bazillion people running around doing stuff. It's all a very small scale, very good. It's very efficient. It just kind of works. And I'm really into things just kind of working, which is why I tend to like Amazon and the way Amazon does a lot of things. Now, Amazon has wiggle room for doing kind of crazy stuff. And despite the fact that Amazon profits seem to be going, actually, oddly enough, down, and Amazon stock has gone down too, Amazon still is not exactly hurting for money right now. Amazon has a lot of money that it can throw away to do crazy stuff with, like researching and investing in really complex imaging software and APIs and all sorts of weird complex things we don't need to get into. But there's a new feature that Amazon has called Amazon Flow that'll let you take a picture of something and then buy it using that picture. It used to, I don't know. Previously, you could take a picture of the barcode and use that, but now you can take a picture of the actual item and use that picture to buy the thing. They have some examples here in an ad for it where you can take a photo of a painting and buy a print of it. You can take a photo of, here they have yogurt, and then buy a package of that yogurt and have it shipped to your door. There's a lot of just crazy stuff you can buy on Amazon. I was reading before about how you can just buy insane stuff on Amazon. Very large things, too. You can buy, for heaven's sake, you buy cars on Amazon. You can buy a 55-gallon drum of WD-40. That's not even a joke. You actually can do that. A 55-gallon drum of WD-40 shipped straight to your door, because why not? That's Amazon for you. And with Amazon and with a lot of web services that we have today, you basically don't have to leave your house ever, which is really nice because I don't like leaving my house ever. You can do that. You can use eBay to buy pretty much everything and combine that with Amazon to buy pretty much everything. You'll basically never have to leave your house. It's kind of crazy. Just the amount of automation, the amount of technological involvement that's going on now in the modern marketplace, it's changed kind of everything. And if you don't have a smartphone, you're really missing out on all of that, because most of these features are built into the app experience. They're built into the smartphone experience. Nowadays, it's less about your desktop or laptop computer, and it's mostly about your phone or your tablet. Almost every service you'll ever want to use is optimized for your phone or for your tablet, if you have one. And if you don't, you really kind of need one, especially to function in the modern day. Because nowadays, it's not just, oh, I have a website. Businesses, it used to be, oh, I have a website. Now it's, oh, I have an app. You can even forego the whole website thing. Just don't have a website. But you can have an app, and that's pretty much good enough for almost any business application ever. It's crazy. Like I say, it's just kind of nuts when you think about how things have changed so drastically in the last not even 10, but 5 years. Although, about 10 years ago is when the smartphone came out, by the way. So the smartphone is about 10 years old. 2007 is when the iPhone first came out. And the first generation iPhone, let's face it, was not that good, actually. The Gen 1 iPhone, you really couldn't do that much with it that was any different from any other smartphone. It had a touchscreen, and that was cool. But in terms of bare bones functions that were unique to the iPhone, there really weren't any when the first iPhone came out. And then you had the 3G, right, which is the next generation of cell phone technology. And then you had the iPhone 3, 3G, and then you had the iPhone 4, and then the 4S, and the 5, and now the 6 and 6 Plus, and the 7 is coming out soon. The iPhone 7 is actually, I think this year, iPhone 7 will be released. So there's been a lot of development with the iPhone. Frankly, there's been a lot of development with the iPhone. There's been a lot of changes that have been made to it. There's a lot of just changes that have happened societally because of the rise of the smartphone. Nowadays, you barely even need to have a home computer. It's weird how that works, but you these days, if you're not a power user, you almost don't need to have a desktop or a laptop computer of any sort. You can do almost all of your business work on your iPhone or on your Android phone or your tablet. And it's all the direction that businesses are going are very much directed towards that. Like, say, for instance, you use Excel at work, or maybe you use Outlook at work, because I know a lot of businesses, for some reason, are really wanting to use Outlook and Outlook Express for your say your phones, or sorry, Outlook Express for email. Geez, I forgot what Outlook was for. Yeah, most businesses are wanting to use Outlook for email, business email, and everything. And that's fine, but it used to be you could only use that on your computer, and it was really annoying. But now Outlook is on both the iPhone and Android and all the tablets, so you can use Outlook on pretty much anything. Same goes for Excel, even PowerPoint. You can actually do PowerPoint presentations from your phone. It used to be PowerPoint was so clunky, and it still is. But it used to be PowerPoint was so clunky, and it was such a bear to use that basically no one really wanted to use it. It was a chore. But now it's on the iPhone, and it's on the iPad, and it's on Android phones and Android tablets and every other device ever. So now it's become easy. Things that used to be really complex and really hard to do can be done by basically anyone. Not that basically anyone should do some of these things, like, say, graphic design or typesetting. You kind of really need to have training to do those things, but you have the capability, if not the skill, to do typesetting and to do graphic design. Say that makes it so much easier to launch your own business. Just as an example, you don't need to hire a firm of people to do your graphic design or to handle your marketing or do all these different things. You don't need that. Like, say, for instance, here at the radio station, we don't hire out a firm of people to handle all of our stuff for us. We do pretty much everything in-house. And I have to say, it works out pretty well. We do everything, and it just kind of works. It's one of those things where it really just works well. It's amazing how these things just fall together. Were great functionality. So if you were wary about getting a smartphone before, maybe you should try it again, because things have changed a lot in the last even just 5 years. There's so many more productivity apps, especially, that make our lives so much easier. Day planners, for instance, checklist apps, for instance. There's a lot that goes on with iPhones and Android phones nowadays that make things so much easier. Like, for instance, there are two particular apps for shopping that I think are really, really good. One of them is a dedicated app for shopping. It's called All Out of Milk, or Out of Milk. It's a really good app for making a shopping list. And the cool thing about it is, this is one of my favorite things about it, which is actually kind of mundane, but I think it just rounds out everything really well. You can make separate lists for different stores, which on its face sounds kind of dumb. But really, that functionality is really dang helpful, because you can have a list for, okay, you can have a list for, say, Publix if you go there. You can have a list for Fresh Market or Whole Foods or whatever. You can have a list for, say, Harvest Grocery right here in Hickson. You can have a list for Walmart. You can have a list for Best Buy or whatever. So now you have separate lists for all these different stores you're going to, which means you don't have to look through a whole long list of items and then try to figure out which ones you're getting where. You make a list for things you know are at this store, and you make a list for things you know are at that store. And it makes things so much easier. It makes shopping miles easier. And if you're anything like me, I hate shopping. Like, really, I really hate shopping. I hate going out. I hate the whole shopping thing, unless I'm shopping for something I like. But when it comes to food, or like just necessary things, I don't like shopping for things that I need, which is kind of weird, and probably in terms of natural selection puts me really low on the food chain. But I hate doing things that I have to do in terms of shopping. And I think a lot of people are like that. Shopping is just not fun. What's fun about buying eggs? Not really anything. There's absolutely nothing entertaining about buying eggs or milk or whatever. But there's something about using an app that, oddly enough, makes it actually kind of more fun. If only there was an app that made a game out of shopping. like an app that somehow gave you achievements for buying a certain amount of something on a certain day, or buying something before your old one went bad or whatever. Now that would be interesting. And I'd like to see that happen. And probably with the advent of the Internet of Things and smart fridges and all sorts of other things, that actually could probably happen. There was actually a fridge that was connected to the internet back in like the 90s, and it had this really clunky interface, Linux based, that, not that Linux based means it's going to be clunky, but it had this really clunky interface, and you could actually index everything in your fridge. And then it would have a timer that would tell you when things were going to go bad, which, while cool, seems needlessly complicated and also really expensive too. But technologies like that one have become really cheap recently, and just in the last 5 years or so. So we could be seeing things like smart fridges becoming the regular everyday appliance, where it sort of creeps into our lives and we don't really think about it. It's just something that happens. Like when the smartphone came into common use, we didn't really think about it. It was just something that happened for most of us anyway, especially younger people, where we were just sort of thrust upon us, right? We just had the iPhones and the Android phones just sort of thrust upon us. We were used to them before we could even think about it, right? It's just, you're used to them being a thing. And I know for older generations, maybe that's kind of it's sort of a shocking thing that now suddenly everyone has computers in their pockets and tracking devices essentially and cameras in their pockets. But it's just how the future has worked out, right? I mean, it's just something that everyone now has. And by the way, I know a guy, older kind of guy, mid 50s maybe. So not that old in the grand scheme of things, but comparatively older guy, right? Middle aged. And for some odd reason, he's got a really good smartphone. It's a nice Android smartphone. But for some reason, this guy carries around a digital camera with him everywhere. He still has a briefcase and everything. Carries around this digital camera with him everywhere. And here I am thinking, what are you doing? You've got a really nice camera in your phone that actually, I looked up the specs of his old phone, or his camera that he's using. It actually, the camera in his phone is actually better than the camera in his camera, right? The sensors are actually better in the modern day phones than they are from digital cameras, just consumer grade digital cameras from 5 years ago. So why in the world would you have this separate device? If we're just talking about family photos, right? I'm not talking about digital professional photography where you actually do need a Canon Rebel, or you actually do need a Sony A7 or Alpha 7, or is it A7? Whichever one. You don't really need one of those things for just family photos and whatever. Just take them straight from your smartphone. You can upload them to the cloud and delete them off your phone, and now they're there forever, right? They're always going to be there for you. You don't have to worry about storage or printing them out at a certain time or sending the negatives in and bringing in your roll of film. I remember those days when you had to worry about bringing in rolls of film to Sam's. That's what we always did. We'd take our negatives to Sam's and they'd have them printed out by the next day. And we thought that was so cool and so high tech that Sam's could print out our photos by the next day. And nowadays that seems so quaint, because it really is. It's quaint. It's not something that's done anymore. And it wasn't that long ago we were doing that too, is the weird thing. It really wasn't that long ago, especially when you look at the grand scheme of technology, right? Like it took forever to get from stone axes to bronze ones, but now it's not taking any time at all for photography to get from light boxes and dark rooms and all that sort of thing to progress to smartphones taking photos and uploading them within a minute of the photo having been taken. It's a crazy world we live in, and there are quite a few different photo taking apps. But you'll find, especially if you're on an iPhone or a Motorola Android phone, that an external camera app is actually these days not really that useful anymore. It used to be on the iPhones, the Android phones, that having a camera app that was separate from your regular one that came with your phone was really useful. But nowadays, the camera apps that come with your phone are actually, they built in a lot of the functions that the standalone separate camera apps used to have. So nowadays, it's almost like you don't even need to have a separate camera app. The one built into your phone is probably just fine. I use my primary phone, which I just dropped, by the way. I've got a chip in the corner now of my phone, and I'm really mad about that. But that's, I guess, an excuse to buy another phone sometime. Maybe I might get a Moto X. I don't know. I'm waiting for the new season of phones to come out, though, because that's another thing about buying smartphones. If you're looking at buying a new smartphone, especially this year, wait a little bit. I'm serious. It seems like a great idea right now to buy the new phone. But when you buy a new phone now, because it's only February, it's just now February, it's not even barely into the year 2016. Wait for the new models to come out. I'm serious. Because if you buy a phone now, you're going to be buying last year's model, and then the next year's model will come out, and your old phone, the current phone, will seem really old because it is. Smartphones have like a 6-month life cycle. That's just how it is. When you buy a smartphone, you're only going to be able to use it effectively for about a year. That's just how it is. 6 months to a year is your effective time cycle for your phone. You're going to need to get a new one after that period of time. I know that's a really weird concept for folks who grew up with, I bought a washing machine in 1980 and I still use it today. You just can't do that anymore. It doesn't work that way with phones, especially. It's like, oh, I bought my car in 95 and it still works just fine. Well, yeah, but your smartphone isn't that way. The fundamental functions have changed since then. So it's just something that is different about smartphones than any other technology. Really, computers are just that way. They have a very limited life cycle. It's kind of like butterflies, where they start out kind of ugly. They grow up into something really cool, and then they die after a day. That's kind of how smartphones are, but stretch out that timeline a little bit more to about 6 months. It's really cool, but it's not going to last that long. That's just the nature of the technology. So if you're looking at buying a new smartphone now, my advice actually is to wait until the 2016 models come out, because I'm wanting to buy a new phone soon, but I'm going to wait until the 2016 models of the Motorola either G or X come out, because I have a 3rd gen Moto G, which I really like. I bought it late last year, I think October or so of last year, and I like it a lot, but I need a new phone. I kind of need a new phone. So I'm going to wait until the 2016 model comes out, and I'm going to buy that, and I'll do the same thing next year, which sounds really consumerist, right? Like, that sounds so consumerist, but it is what it is. And if you want a good smartphone experience, that's just kind of what you have to do. Tablets, less so, actually. I know people who still use older iPad minis who are just fine with them. Tablets, for some reason, don't really get that updated life cycle like smartphones do. But your smartphone nowadays, if you carry a smartphone, I guarantee you have one for a week, you'll be inseparable. I guarantee you. If you have a smartphone and you suddenly, after a week of using it, you leave it at home, you're going to feel naked without it. You just are. That's how it is. I guarantee you. I know a guy who just got a smartphone less than a year ago, and he is now inseparable from his smartphone. You have to have it on you. You just do. After you have it, you need it. It's like a symbiotic relationship, except it's a little bit more abusive, actually, because the phone doesn't really need you, but you need it for productivity, for day planning, for my alarm clock is my phone too, for making my phone calls, right? Because I don't have a landline. Making my phone calls, for receiving and sending text messages, for shopping, for buying things online, for selling things online too, for playing games, for reading. All these, it's 10 different features I just listed that don't even scratch the surface of what my smartphone offers me. And by the way, if you have an Android phone or an iPhone, you probably have the capability of reading books already. The Google Play Store already has Google Books, which works out really well, actually. Amazon has Amazon Books. You can get the Kindle library on your iPhone or your Android phone. So if you already have, say, books from Amazon that you've bought in ebook form on your Kindle, you can also read them on your smartphone just by logging into your Amazon account and then downloading them to the Kindle app on your smartphone. And then you can read all of your books that way too. If you have the Google Play Books app on your Android phone or your iPhone, you can use your Google account to read all the different books and documents you might have there. And you can actually import PDFs as books into Google Books, which is immensely useful. On the iPhone, I believe the iPhone has a built-in ebook reader too. So you don't really have to worry about a separate e-reader these days anyway. It used to be that you really kind of needed a separate e-reader, but you really don't need one now. I mean, you don't need one now. It might be nice just for the larger screen, but you can read books on your phone, especially if you're, say, on an airplane flight or you're a passenger in a long car drive. Just use your phone. It'll work just fine. You can read your books in peace. And it's really nice, actually, to just sit down and read a book without having to lug around a bunch of books. I know this family that, it's kind of silly. I know this family that goes on vacation every year, and they're really big readers, and they have like a trunk full of books when they leave. And I'm thinking, just buy some e-readers, man. Come on. And you got the guys who say, oh, it's not the same experience. Yeah, but we're talking about convenience here, right? I mean, yeah, it's not the same experience. You don't get to smell the paper and feel that starchy feel on your fingertips. I get it, that fibrous feeling, but you're still reading, you're still inputting words into your brain. It's the same interface mostly. The brain input is the same. So just get an ebook, man. Come on, especially for newer books. There's no reason not to. Ebooks are killing the print industry, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, actually. The industry just needs to evolve. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We're also on the TuneIn Radio app. We're evolving too. Radio's not dead. It's just moving over to the internet, right? This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push into the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga, P5Preparedness.com.
What are you going to get your sweetie for Valentine's Day? I'm going to Carter Shooting Supply.
Carter Shooting Supply.
That's right, Carter Shooting Supply. They're having a great sale on all of their guns right now, and it's name brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Springfield, their AR-15s. They've got the hottest gun in the land right now, the Sky 9mm. Man, it comes in all the cool colors. If you're an Alabama fan, they've got crimson. If you're a big orange fan, they've got an orange one. You know, all the women are loving the pink one and Tiffany blue. Plus, it has a lifetime warranty replacement. If the gun is stolen, all you need is your police report or receipt, and they'll replace it free. It has a 60-day full money-back guarantee. That's Carter Shooting Supply. They're in Harrison right there at 6210 Highway 58.
Are they online?
Yes, they are. It's cartershootingsupply.com, or give them a call, 423-344-1099. Now, this sale's not going to last too long, so you need to hurry up and get there. And they do have a great indoor shooting facility. You can get your Tennessee handgun carry permit also. That's Carter Shooting Supply, 423-344-1099.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. Heavy rains and flooding have plagued the Tennessee Valley. Multiple accidents have been reported and multiple roads have been closed as well. And the South Chickamauga Creek is expected to flood, reaching 19.5 feet by the end of Thursday. Eastridge High School football coach Tracy Malone, who led the Pioneers to a 12-1 record this season, resigned after a classroom altercation at a time when reportedly he was due to be in class. The incident was investigated, but it was not raised to the level of charges being filed. He resigned nonetheless. An 11-year-old boy is still recovering after a tree fell on him while he was doing scout work at Enterprise South. His injuries are extensive, including a fractured skull. A GoFundMe page has been opened for the young man, raising over $10,000 already for his medical fees. And 26-year-old Markel Beach was shot on Macaulay Avenue Tuesday evening. He's given no suspect information, and he is expected to survive. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of sunshine out there through the afternoon. Still on the cool side, highs 48 to 50 tonight. Clear, cold and frosty again overnight, lows near 30. For the weekend, though, beautiful weather on the way, warming up too, with lots of sunshine tomorrow, highs near 62. Let Don City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm all winter long with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around, as well as the area's only ski machine for that big winter trip. That's Don City, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the home of the Super Bowl, right here Sunday, 6:30 is when the Super Bowl starts here on Sunday. We are the exclusive carrier of it, too, here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone. So if you're into the Super Bowl like I am, you should definitely check it out. 6:30 Sunday, right here, Hot News Talk Radio. That's PM, of course, 6:30 PM, but you already knew that, right? Super Bowl Sunday's coming up. I'm excited. I'm pumped. And I don't even like sports that much, but there's something about it that's so, like, it is the most American TV thing ever, right? If you watch it on TV, it's the most American TV, and if you listen to it on radio, it's the most American radio you'll ever hear. There is not much more American than the Super Bowl, really. I mean, it's everyone watches it, right? Even people who aren't into sports that much, like me, we still watch it. Because it's new, it's interesting, it's different every year, right? There's sort of the odds, right? You bet on who's going to win, the Broncos or the Panthers. You don't know, right? Is Manning going to win his last game? Who knows? I think Manning's a cool guy. I'm kind of rooting for him, honestly. I don't know much about the other side, but I think Manning's kind of a cool guy. I'd like to see him win. That would be kind of neat. So, the Super Bowl is it's just a cool American thing, and it's something that we can all sort of enjoy. Even people who are not that into sports like myself, we can watch it and enjoy it and have fun with it. And there's something that's just really great about that camaraderie when you're sitting there watching the football game with your friends, and you're totally not drinking because you're too young for that, and you're eating some really good, like, horrible food that's really bad for you. Because I don't go in for that whole vegetarian thing. It's just, it's so nice. It's great. It's amazing. And I'll probably, I don't know if I'll be in Monday after it. I'll put it that way. It's going to be a mess. Super Bowl Sunday is going to be a mess. But anyway, this is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio and AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. So you can listen to the Super Bowl right here on Hot News Talk Radio only, in fact, on radio, on Hot News Talk Radio. I was reading a news story today. I mean, as in like 5 seconds ago, reading a news story, director, about a guy who broke into a gas station, okay, and he stole a roll of lottery tickets. Now, I don't know if he knows or not that lottery tickets have to be scanned at the register to activate them, right? I don't know if he knows that, even if they're scratch-offs. I don't know if he knows that, he can get arrested for breaking and entering and theft over whatever dollar amount, especially if one of them is the winner. Think about this. If he scratches off all of them and lottery, one of them is the winner, could he technically then not be arrested for theft over $5,000, right? I mean, technically speaking, that has the dollar value of over $5,000. So this could take it into felony territory. So obviously a really stupid crime, but I noticed something when I was looking at it. It was kind of funny. I noticed something when I was looking at the story. The video camera footage of the theft was actually really good. And I realized that a lot of businesses here are moving over to new security systems that use IP cameras. Now, we don't need to get into technicalities of what IP cameras are, how they work, yada, yada. But I was thinking, if you have a business that uses security cameras, you really do need to upgrade to IP cameras if you're still using VHS cameras, because I can't tell you how many crimes go unsolved because they can't identify the guy in that blurry, fuzzy VHS camera security cam footage. It's just bad. And there's still some gas stations, major gas stations, that have not upgraded to the good cameras. They just haven't. So don't be a victim here. And even if you are a victim, catch the guy who did it, right? Because you don't want to be a victim in the first place. But if your store happens to get robbed, right? And that's not just a robbery. When a store gets robbed, it's not just that. It's also severe stress and mental trauma on the cashier. Even if it's not you, one of your employees now is not going to sleep that night, I guarantee you. It's a traumatic thing when a store gets robbed. So you want to capture that on camera. And what if the store doesn't get robbed at gunpoint, but someone shoplifts? You want to be able to catch that on camera to recoup your losses, right? So you need good cameras in your store. You need them. You really do. In the 21st century, you need good cameras. So don't go for the whole fuzzy VHS, bad looking stuff. And these days, it's not even that expensive, actually, for high quality IP cameras and a hard drive setup and everything. It's not that expensive. You can consult an expert to have them put in, and it's not going to cost you that much more than it did, 30 years ago when you installed your VHS cameras. It's not going to be that bad, actually. So it's definitely worth the investment, because they're probably going to catch the guy who stole those lottery tickets. I guarantee you they're going to catch the guy who stole those lottery tickets, because he's probably dumb enough to try to turn them in at some point. Hey, I got the winner. He's going to try to turn it in, and he's going to get promptly arrested, because how dumb is that to steal lottery tickets anyway? I was talking about this with Eric. If you're going to steal something from a store, here's my tip from me to you. If you're going to go shoplifting, come on, steal something with a high resale value, right? Like liquor, high resale value, cigarettes, high resale value. You can sell those loose and get choked to death. All sorts of great stuff, right? Steal liquor and sell that for high dollar value, black market, whatever, to your friends for $30 a bottle. Come on, man. But no, lottery tickets. Let's steal some lottery tickets. I am disappointed with the thievery here in Chattanooga. We have terrible thieves here in Chattanooga. They don't even steal good stuff that I would want to buy from them. They don't even do that. But oh well, I guess that's good for the store owners. But fortunately, again, he had a good camera, so the guy's probably going to get caught. I guarantee you. Thieves, people who resort to petty crime, sometimes there's the economic motivation, but sometimes it's just because they're dumb and they think they'll get away with it. Because you're never going to get away with something like that, especially if there are cameras in the building. You just can't. So upgrade to the IP cameras. They're kind of amazing. They look really good. And make sure you secure them, by the way. If you happen to have an IP camera, say, to watch over your kids sleeping or in your office at EPB, hint, hint, you really need to set a password for that. Because actually, seriously, you can actually find them on the internet and log into them and watch those security camera feeds. I've done it before. Shodan.io is a website you can do that. That's SHODAN.io. And you can actually watch these live streams of people's webcams. It's disturbing, but it really does happen. So be careful if you have internet connected devices, because anything that's connected to the internet is susceptible to hackers, right? Anything that includes your phone, your Vonage phone, right? Your landline, your laptop. If you go to Starbucks and use their Wi-Fi, anything that's connected to the internet at all can be exploited and can be used to potentially steal your information. Now, that's not to make some scare story out of using the internet, because obviously I'm not against the use of the internet, because when you think about statistics, right, when you get in your car, you're a much greater risk than when you're driving your car than you are using your phone. It's grand scheme of things, right? Because if you drive your car, somebody could slam into you and kill you. You could slide on the very flooded roads we have right now, and you could die that way. All sorts of different horrible things can happen to you when you're driving your car. But we don't really worry about driving from home to work, or from work to home, or from here to Enterprise South or Chester Frost or whatever. We don't think about those things, even though statistically speaking, you are miles more likely to get injured or killed doing that than anything else. Maybe we just shut it out because it's a psychological thing. But statistically speaking, you are highly likely to die in a car wreck. This sounds terrible, or to get injured in a car wreck, or be in a car accident in general, which insurance costs and everything, highly likely. So when you put things in perspective, using a phone, not really that dangerous in terms of your well-being. But that's not to say you shouldn't be cautious, right? Because people can still carry handguns all the time, even though you're highly unlikely to be in a situation where you would actually need to use it. But if the event arises, you're prepared. And there's a show that's all about preparedness, by the way. It's called P5, the Patriot Prepper Show, here on Hot News Talk Radio. The Patriot Prepper Show is live every Thursday on Hot News Talk Radio from 11 to 12. So be prepared. Listen to the Patriot Prepper Show, or programmer, the Patriot Prepper Show here on Hot News Talk Radio. He's on every Thursday from 11 to 12 here on Hot News Talk Radio. He steals my time slot from me every weekday here from 11 to 12 on Hot News Talk Radio. And don't forget, this is the exclusive home of the Super Bowl here on Hot News Talk Radio. You can only listen to the Super Bowl on radio right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone. Here's a hint about TuneIn, by the way. TuneIn has a thing. It really does. TuneIn has a thing called TuneIn Premium, which is a subscription service, and it's cool, right? I mean, I like TuneIn, but I really don't like the idea of paying money for radio. That just seems kind of weird to me because I'm used to radio just being free. I turn on my radio and I listen to the radio, and I don't have to worry about paying a fee for it or anything like that. Why would I want to pay for radio? That seems silly. They tried it with satellite and it didn't work out too well. And they tried it with internet services and it doesn't work out too well. So why, pray tell, would I pay, pray tell, for radio? Why would I do that? So TuneIn Premium is sort of seems like a failed concept. I don't see many people paying for it, but TuneIn advertises that the only way you can listen to the Super Bowl is with TuneIn Premium. That is not true. You don't have to pay any money to listen to the Super Bowl on TuneIn Radio at all. Listen to Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app, and you can listen to it streaming live there with just the regular commercial interruptions. It's all regular stuff. You get the Super Bowl halftime show, all that good stuff right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. We are the exclusive carrier of Super Bowl Sunday and the NFL and NASCAR, all right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and we are always here at hotnewstalkradio.com as well. And don't forget the TuneIn Radio app. All you have to do, by the way, to get the TuneIn Radio app, let's walk through this. So I'll unlock my phone here. You should always use a PIN code on your phone. I'll unlock my phone here, go to my home screen, taking a while, go to my Play Store to launch that. Now I'm going to search for I'm going to search for TuneIn. I get confused. I'm going to search for TuneIn here on my smartphone. And once that pops up, tap on the search bar, wait for my keyboard to load, and type in TuneIn. That's TUNEIN, TuneIn. Hit search. And the first result, TuneIn Radio and Music. There we go. I'll tap on that. And I already have it installed, so all I have to do is hit open, but you need to install it for it to work on your phone. So I'll go ahead and hit open and turn down my volume all the way so I don't get my ears blasted out. So once I've got that downloaded, all I need to do is go to Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app. It's super easy. Just search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you can listen to us streaming live there. You might have to watch like one ad because TuneIn throws in proprietary ads that we don't have any control over. But search for Hot News Talk Radio, and it should pop up. It says Hot News Talk Radio. You report, the world decides. It's got the little American flag logo going on there. Tap on that. Starts up, and you can listen to our stream there. It says Stations Hot News Talk Radio. 274 followers. You can follow us, by the way, on the TuneIn Radio app to get an alert whenever we broadcast. Hit the start button there, and you can add it to your favorite stations too. And you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio streaming live that way to your smartphone. And also, if you happen to have a Bluetooth-enabled car radio, you can sync up your phone with that Bluetooth radio and search for Hot News Talk Radio streaming live on your smartphone to your Bluetooth radio, just like you're here in the studio with us. It sounds amazing. It's definitely worth it. It's just, there's so many good things you can say about it. It just sounds great. There's so much to be said for listening to the TuneIn Radio app in your car. It really does sound good. And by the way, TuneIn actually has a car mode, so you don't have to go around searching for buttons when you're on the TuneIn app. It's just all right there for you, and it works out really well. Now, I have to give sort of a news alert here about the road conditions right now. There have been reports of rather severe flooding here in the Chattanooga area, particularly in the lower areas. South Chickamauga Creek is expected, by the way, to rise up to 19.5 feet by tomorrow. That's really high, 19.5 feet. There are lots of road closings to tell you about. There's been some flooding. Cummings Highway has had a boulder fall on it. Not sure if that's been cleared up yet. And there's been some issues with flooding all around the area. So South Chickamauga Creek, if you ever use Doug Road out there near close to Graysville, if you ever use that for sort of a shortcut to get from Ringgold Road to Graysville, it's going to be flooded, I guarantee you, because South Chickamauga Creek is going to be getting up to 19.5 feet. That's a crazy amount of water. I noticed on Ringgold Road driving here today, just driving from my house to work, it was incredibly flooded. It was ridiculously flooded. And I have never, all my years of living here, I have never seen it be that flooded before. It was ridiculous. It was actually kind of crazy. So it's just ridiculously flooded. So you can go to Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. We're going to keep you updated on all the different road closings. Be sure to go to Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. We'll keep you updated on all the road closings that are happening. East Brainerd Road at Louis Highway Split is flooded. East 11th Street is flooded. 500 Airport Road flooded. 700 East 12th Street at Baldwin is flooded. 100 Appling Street flooded. Cummings Highway at 24 westbound ramp is flooded. 200 to 300 block of 20th Street also barricaded. 1600 Morris Hill Road, having some problems there. And Hunter Road near the interstate is also flooded. Hickory Valley flooded, both sides. Davidson near Gun Barrel is flooded. Dodson Avenue having some problems there too. Dodson Avenue is flooded at both 2200 and 3100 Dodson Avenue. And 4400 Rossville Avenue right now, we're seeing some problems there as well. So be aware that Dodson Avenue is having some pretty severe problems. Ottawa Ringgold Road also seeing some issues. Rossville Boulevard flooded. East Brainerd Road, 600 Standiford Gap Road, more stuff on Standiford Gap. London Lane is flooded. Middle Valley Road, and the bottom of the ramp at Cummings Highway from I-24 is flooded. We also had some problems with boulders falling. There's on Ox Highway wires down, and Talent Road is a wire down as well. Not sure if they're still alive. I doubt they are. There's a boulder that fell on Cummings Highway near Broad Street, and a tree fell on Back Valley Road as well. So lots of issues on our roads today. If you're traveling out there, be careful. We're still having problems with standing water, which can be a real issue if you're driving. You don't want to hit that standing water and end up hydroplaning. That can cause some pretty severe problems for your driving experience, so to say. So be careful if you're driving out there on the main roads, especially back roads too. And again, South Chickamauga Creek is expected to rise all the way up to 19.5 feet. There are a lot of people who live near that area, so be very careful, especially if you're driving out of your roadways. I've noticed that driving on Highway 41, there were quite a few areas of standing water just on the side of the road. If you're familiar with the Ringgold Road Highway 41 area, you know they usually have a ditch dug on the side. Some areas they don't, though. And on some sides of the road, they don't have a drainage ditch. And usually on that side, you get some standing water there, which can mess up your travel, to say the least. You might end up hydroplaning over that, which has happened to a lot of people. Mike Wood was telling us this morning about all the different accidents that have happened. So be very careful. There's already been quite a few accidents. We don't need to add any more to the roster. So today, be very cautious as there is standing water. Fortunately, tonight, it's not supposed to get down to freezing. That's the good news. Getting down to freezing tonight would be catastrophic when it comes to icing over. Fortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening, so we don't have that to worry about. But tomorrow night, if there is still water, which I expect there will be, it is actually going to get down to freezing tomorrow night. So again, be very cautious as you're driving. Tomorrow night, there are going to be issues with icing over, undoubtedly. So be very cautious driving out there. And really just driving at all. Tomorrow night is going to be kind of a messed up night for driving, especially because of the icing. So be very cautious. Now, getting back to apps, one app that I've been using actually pretty frequently is called Paper. And that's actually all it's called, is just Paper. And it's a really good app for both note-taking and making lists, which is one of the things I really like about it, is the list-making feature. Because while Evernote does have a list-making feature, and it is pretty nice, I think the one in Paper is actually kind of better. And Paper, with it, you can actually draw, which is fun for just doodling and for quickly sketching out something to give somebody an idea of whatever, because most of us don't carry pens anymore. Kind of funny thing, but a lot of us just don't carry pens on us, because why would we? But Paper is a really good app on iOS, and it started out as a drawing and sort of a notebook app, but now it's got new stuff like checkbooks, photos, note-taking, and you can also have a nice drawing engine as well. The Paper app is one of the best drawing features I've ever seen on any app. It's only on iPhone, though, unfortunately, so Paper on the iPhone is really nice. I like it a lot. You can use that for both drawing, you can use it for taking photos and then annotating them. You can use them for creating a checklist of stuff, which is, again, useful to double as a shopping list as well. It's just a very useful app. Google Drive, again, in case you didn't know, in case we hadn't told you enough, Google Drive is an amazing service for transferring files from your phone to your computer, from computer to computer. It all just works out amazingly nicely. We use it here at the station all the time. It's just so useful. So the Google Drive app is really kind of amazing. Google Drive is great for transferring files. It's great for storing PDFs. You can actually view PDFs in Google Drive, which makes it that much more useful. You can import files from another person's Google Drive account into yours if they give you permission to. So there's no worrying about dragging and dropping from their desktop to yours, or passing around flash drives or anything like that. Just put it in Google Drive and transfer it. You get 50 gigabytes free. You don't have to worry about buying more usually. It's an amazing service. And 50 gigabytes is actually kind of spacious for just sharing files. You can put several movies on there without worrying about it and all that sort of thing, and MP3s and albums and all sorts of stuff. Go nuts with it. If you're wanting a little bit more storage, Mega is really good for that. Now, Mega doesn't have the same features as Google Drive, but if you're wanting just another storage, like another cloud storage app, Mega tends to be really good for that. Mega.co.nz is the website. You can drag and drop your files into it, share them. You can search for other people's files. It's sort of born out of the really popular file sharing site Mega Upload from way back in the day. Now it's called Mega.co.nz. It's a New Zealand site started up by Kim.com, not his real name. And it's great for file storage and all that sort of thing. It also has a mobile app. You can use it for storing files, transferring them to your desktop computer with no issue. It's just a really nice app. It works really well. The mobile app is really good. It's just really nice. Google Drive, though, is built into pretty much every Android phone, and you can use it on your iPhone, too. And Google Drive is great for transferring files. You can use it to access your Google Photos. And Google Photos, by the way, will back up your pictures on your Android phone automatically if you set it up to, so you don't have to worry about storage space anymore, because photos are probably the number one drain on your storage space next to audio files, music, and for audiobooks too. Audiobooks take up a huge amount of space, multiple gigabytes sometimes. So definitely back up your photos with either Google Photos if you're on an Android phone, or the iCloud if you're on an iPhone, to free up some space, because that can free up an amazing amount of space. It's really good for that, and you're going to want that space, trust me. One tip from me to you, by the way, is don't make a mistake that I did a few years ago, which is buying a phone with too little storage space. This is applicable for both iPhones and for Android phones. Buy the most amount of storage you can. For some reason, phone manufacturers like to cheap out on you, and they'll give you like 4 gigabytes internal on your iPhone or your Android phone, which gives you very little space to install apps. I don't know why they do that, but for some reason they really like to do that. So when you buy a phone, buy as much storage as you can afford. I'm serious, as much storage as you can afford. Don't cheap out on storage when it comes to your iPhone or your Android phone. You don't want to cheap out on that. Buy the most you can. Now, I know with iPhones, for some reason, storage is really expensive, even though it really shouldn't be. But storage on an iPhone is more expensive than it is on an Android phone. If you're buying an Android phone especially, you're going to want that storage. It'll save you so much trouble with SD cards and just a pain. It really is just a pain. So this is the exclusive home of the Super Bowl on radio here on Hot News Talk Radio. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com on Super Bowl Sunday to listen to Super Bowl right here. Hot News Talk Radio at 6:30 is when it's supposed to start, but you know how scheduling is with these things. You can also get us on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. That's TuneIn Radio on your smartphone. Listen to us there, Hot News Talk Radio on TuneIn, and you can listen to us streaming live there, TuneIn Radio here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Colin Cowherd is coming up next after me. He's sort of like the Rush Limbaugh of sports. He's really good at giving your sports analysis in a concise and easy to understand manner. And I think the easy to understand part is possibly the most important part of that. So from 12 to 3, Colin Cowherd is on. Definitely give him a listen. I really like his delivery. I think he's really great. Colin Cowherd is the best sports broadcaster on radio, next to my man Keon. Listen to Clutch of Keon Rose from 6 to 7. Colin is second only to Keon. Clutch of Keon Rose, 6 to 7 here on Hot News Talk Radio. He's our local guy. He gives you your local sports and your national sports analysis. All right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 at hotnewstalkradio.com. We've also got Sean Hannity, 3 to 6. American Now with Megan McCain. Ground Zero from 10 to 1. 1 to 6 is Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. All right here, Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Be sure to go to our Twitter to get all your road closings and flooding alerts. We're keeping you updated on which roads are closed, which areas are flooded, and we'll keep you updated with the minute news as well to let you know where all the flooding is going on, where there's been a boulder going down. And again, wires are down on Ox Highway and Talent Road as well. There are some vehicles stuck in the water on Amicola and Appling Street as well, and there's flooding all around the area. We're going to keep you updated on that here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Save $40 on having your 1040 done at Eric Pelton Company on Brainerd Road and in Saudi Daisy. That's $40 off his regular low price. Eric Pelton helps you save more of what you've earned. Make sure to get Form 2045 from your insurer. You'll need that to show proof of insurance. Audits, proposed return changes, 1099, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services bring peace of mind and help you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices in Brainerd and Saudi. That's EJ Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead.
From all of us here at Hot News Talk Radio, thank you for patronizing our sponsors. It's important that you support people that support and advertise with Hot News Talk Radio, so we can continue to deliver the outstanding programs that you desire. And if you'd like to advertise on Hot News Talk Radio, you can email us at hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. That's hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. Or call 423-458-5563. That's 458-5563.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business and becoming self-sufficient. Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years. 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. 875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Call me now, 875-5621.
You have an event coming up, maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party, then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct, Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef, oh yes, Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh my goodness, it's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right, Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
In the middle of our street. Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
Lay your burdens down at the Woodhouse. Leave all your worries at the door.
The perfect gift for the perfect match. Surprise her with a Woodhouse gift card. Call us today at 423-443-4478 or visit us online at chattanooga.woodhousespas.com.
If the South would have won, we'd have had it made. I'd probably run for president of the Southern states.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDG Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga.
Hi, it's Colin the Herd live from Super Bowl 50 from Rick Barry. Cam Newton talk. I'll defend him again. Shannon Sharp, Bill Romanowski, our best show of the week on tap. The Herd starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
You guys can laugh at me all you want.
This is The Herd. The Herd. With Colin Cowherd.
I'm setting the tone.
Best show on radio.
This is The Herd.
Broadcasting live from Los Angeles. The Herd with Colin Cowherd starts now.
This is The Herd. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, we are live from Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. And we will have today the best Super Bowl show I've ever done. Yes, Domino's used to promise 30-minute delivery. I am promising 3 hours of delivery.
What makes you so confident?
And this driver will not be late. What makes me so confident, Christine Leahy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Rick Barry, Brian Kelly, Shannon Sharp, who has become my friend and who I adore. I love Shannon Sharp. Get here this morning, 5:55. Only guy in the building, Shannon Sharp. He was lifting the side of the building. He was bench pressing. I love Shannon Sharp. Bill Romanowski, Michael Irvin. I've got so much energy today.
I know. You went to bed early, right?
I watched The People versus OJ.
What'd you think?
I was knocked off my feet into my bed. The covers